Hi, my name is Bethany Mundy-Bosse, and I'm an assistant professor here at Ohio State in the Division of Hematology. And I am a 2011 graduate of the Biomedical Sciences graduate program. So looking a little bit about the academic route. So as I said, I'm a tenure track assistant professor, and my group really focuses on innate tumor immunology. We look at the very basic components of how an innate immune cell develops from a stem cell, and then subsequently in the setting of malignancy, what goes wrong? How is the tumor blocking this effect so that we no longer have functional immune cells? Really the driving force in my group is to understand from this basic level what goes wrong, because can we identify new targets that have therapeutic potential so that we can restore immune surveillance in cancer patients. Ultimately, everything we do in my group is aimed at understanding these fundamental aspects of biology so that we can improve the lives of cancer patients. So for me, this was a very natural committing to academia. I knew when I started graduate school within about a year that I definitely wanted to do this. I wanted to stay in academia and I wanted to become my own PI with my own lab. There is definitely were some differences then than there are now. I mean, then when I first started, funding was a lot easier to get. Now it's a lot harder. And I think that as a new investigator, we spend a lot more time focusing on what grants are we getting and kind of building that funding history than we did then. However, even with all of that, I chose to stick with the academic route because I really enjoy kind of the day to day and what I get to do. And I'll talk a little bit about that more as I go through. So specifically the pathway to PI. So when I started in the biomedical sciences graduate program, I don't think I really knew the importance of funding. So the first year that I was there was the first year that they received a training grant through NIH to support graduate research, which was really novel at the time that you would have a graduate program that had this multidisciplinary approach. So I was one of the first people who applied for this, and really it made a big impact early in my career because it got me a fellowship during graduate school, which then led to a fellowship through NIH as my postdoc. And then when I was transitioning to faculty, I was able to successfully apply for an NIH K-22 to successfully get a tenure track position. So having this established at Ohio State and really having mentors who understood the importance of this was really key to having the early success that I've had to this point. And I think that, again, being at a large academic institution, that's what makes this possible. And I mentioned too, the importance of mentors. I personally did not know the importance of this, but luckily I had people in my corner who absolutely knew that this would be important and really encouraged me early within the program and afterwards as well. So how I started at Ohio State. So I was really intrigued by this idea of what was then called the Integrated Biomedical Sciences program. Part of the problem when I considered graduate school is I was not sure exactly what I wanted to go into. I knew I loved immunology. I knew I loved cancer biology, but how do you break those apart? Now it sounds easy. Then when you have much more segmented approaches, it was not. So I really like this idea that I could have a lot of diverse experience. So really when I started this program, that's what appealed to me. But then when I got into it, I was able to establish this network of colleagues as well, where we had a very tight-knit group of people who started together within the program and are still people who I interact with to this day. I did learn that this teaching style is not for everybody. You have to enjoy kind of getting a diverse background and then you by yourself focusing in really on your niche area. And so that's really something that's important within this program. And then specifically the benefits of Ohio State for this purpose, you have a large research institution. They have the resources, they have the mentorship, and they have the organization to really support top-notch teaching at all these different courses, and they know how to support you to become successful in your future career. So I personally think my job is amazing, at least for me. And the reason I think that is every day is different. As I mentioned before, basic science and translational work, I get to see the whole gamut from, of all the different studies and how it all comes together. And then I get to see what happens in the clinic. This is amazing. Not everybody gets to say that. So for me personally, I love that. It's a challenge. There's a challenge at kind of each step along the way, but it allows me to be constantly growing and changing. In addition to that, the individual autonomy gives me the ability to work the way I want to work and the way I work best. I also love doing, having my own research group and really able to mentor the style that has worked for me and help other people along the way. So I think that's key. So, you can't end any program without recommendations for a successful X career. So for me, that's the academic career. So just a few things that apply to both Ohio State or wherever you end up for your graduate school. So I always recommend work one step higher than you currently are. You need to want it more than anybody else. If you're the graduate student, you need to want your project to succeed more than your PI. You always have to want it more. The other thing that's been very beneficial to me, and I really credit both Ohio State and the mentorship team, is start your funding history early, particularly if you want to stay in academia. You can definitely survive in this climate, but it takes work. The other thing too, communication is so critical for what we do. So give talks, both internally and at meetings. Nobody likes to volunteer to do these, but it's really important. And the more you do it, the better you'll get, and the more your face gets out there and you'll start networking. The other thing I would say is you really leave the lab quickly now in the academic environment, which was not quite the way it was before. So learn to manage early, learn to get the right people, trust those people, and learn how to communicate the science that way. So as I said, the biomedical sciences graduate program really helped me get to where I wanted to get today at each step of the way. So thank you for giving the opportunity to share my success with you all, and I wish you all equal success in your future careers.